Hello, this is Veronica with Once Upon a Homeschooler here, and I'm going to just try to do a quick overview of what I got in my box from Sonlight with the HBL-K materials and the new materials from HBL-A. And I also ordered a bunch of extra things here. But I'm just going to try to show you what's in the box, what it looks like, what the difficulty level is. Try to go fairly quickly because I'm sure this is going to get really long. Sing the word. It's a new one, just made for this one. It's got 29 songs on it. I believe it is available as a download as well. We have the Bible for Children, one-year Bible for Children. It's written by the same person that wrote a couple other books I'm familiar with, and I'll show you why it really reminds me in a minute here. But it has one story divided into 365 days a year, and is scheduled out by day. Sonlight just starts in January, and it looks like they scheduled out all of it. I'm not sure. I have not double checked that to make sure, but it kind of looks like they did. And these pictures here remind me of books or pictures that were in like the Journeys Through the Bible by the same author, or some of the pictures remind me very much of what's that book called? The Family Time Bible for Children. I don't remember what the exact title is, but the one from P4-5, or did they move it to P3-4? I don't remember what level it's in right now, but it reminds me a lot of that. So you might see a lot of the same pictures, but the stories are different. There's about one story per page. There's a few of them that have 2 stories on a page. There's a couple that are a little bit longer than a page. Most of the stories at the bottom have all 3 of these. Some of them just have 2. There's a remember section that just kind of asks your child questions about what just happened in the story. A discover, which takes it a little bit deeper. And then the apply, which tells your child how they can think about this in their own life. And it's because it's got 365 stories. It's fairly long. 393 of that pages, so it's 400 pages or so. Let's see here. I have the K timeline figures. There are 5 pages of figures, so you'll be using those throughout the year. You wouldn't want to be an American pioneer. Wilderness you'd rather not tame. This book is usually fun for children. It goes through and tells them about things that are the bad things that would have happened to you. Like, for example, you might have delays to your journey. You might run into snow. You might have to do your own mending. You have tired animals. You might have to ford rivers, get all wet, lose your food. You might have to eat food you don't like at meals, stuff like that. Children usually like this. It just goes through and just tells you about what it was like to live there, but it kind of tries to take a little bit of a different slant. You have to leave your things behind, stuff like that. George versus George is a fun little book about George Washington and King George III, and it kind of shows you both sides of it. It's a picture book, but it's one of those picture books that is packed full of information. I think this would be fairly difficult for most 4 or 5-year-olds unless they're really into really into history. But it does talk to you about a certain time period. Tells you what King George was thinking. It tells you what George Washington was thinking. Tells you what was going on, and then it moves into a different time period and repeats the same thing. And it just goes through all of their adventures. There's maps. There's timelines. There's all kinds of historical events in the book. Another one of those picture books that's just packed full of information is this one about Lewis and Clark, how we crossed the West. It's written kind of like excerpts from their actual diaries, but they're simplified and easier to read, and they took out some of the details. But it's packed full of the information, things they did, things they saw, so on and so forth. So it is a fairly intense book, again, for children. The Very First Americans, this used to be an HBLD. I thought it was really simplistic there, so I'm glad to see that it moved down here. It's just a book that tells you about how Native Americans lived. It's not quite as detailed and packed with information as the other picture books, but it does still have quite a bit of information. These books here, If You Lived in Colonial Times and If You Lived at the Time of the Civil War, are kind of like picture books, but not exactly. They do have pictures and illustrations, and they talk about what it was like. So this is the colonial times one. So it talks about what did people eat, what kind of jobs did they have, how would you send the mail, how did people travel, were there any special holidays, were there any special laws, were children allowed to play, what did they do for work, how do people take baths, where do they hang up their clothes, what the furniture look like. It's really, really packed full of information about what it was like to live during that time period. And the Civil War one is very similar. It focuses a little bit more about soldiers and slavery and things like that, but it's just packed full of information about what was life during that time period. The Three Young Pilgrims is another one of those picture books that follows the life of 3 children, and it tells you what their life was like. Lots of pictures, but again, here you can see there's a lot of extra information packed in here. So this isn't so much a picture book as an informational book for children with beautiful pictures. And the pictures are lovely and very beautifully illustrated. And I really like those books. I'm going to skip here to The Amazing Impossible Erie Canal, which is another one of those picture books that just happens to be chock full of informations, maps, graphs, just all kinds of information for your children. So that's one of the reasons I don't think a 4 or 5-year-old would do as well with this, just because there is so much information packed into them. Here's a Maps and Globes book. This we use in a different curriculum as well. And it's not my favorite book for maps and globes, but it does tell your children how were maps invented, what do people use for their initial maps, what did the world used to look, hemispheres, latitude, longitude, equator, topical maps, political maps, drawing your own map, how to read depths on a map, and so on and so forth. So that is a good book for that. It does not touch so much on like plateaus and stuff like that, but it does have a lot of information in it. Abandoned on the Wild Frontier is the missionary book. It is a Dave and Netta Jackson book, and this one is about Peter Cartwright. I haven't read this one yet, but as far as I can tell, all the Trailblazer books, Sonlight used to carry a few more of these. I haven't seen many recently, but this one here, these books here are written about a missionary usually, and a child is telling the story, and the child is a fictional person, and everything about them is fiction, and everything else in the story is true. So it's kind of an interesting read because you know that most of it's true except for the person who's telling the story. So it just kind of takes you through the life of the missionary. And these are the read alouds here for that level. We have A Grain of Rice, which used to be an HBL A. It's one of the books that moved. It's a math book set in, I want to say China, but I'm so tired. I had a long night at work last night, and I work again tonight, so I'm trying to do this quickly. But it's about a poor man who wants to marry the princess, and he gets a reward where he works hard. I like the part in there that he works hard to get what he wants. And the king keeps denying him, so eventually he gets a reward of just a grain of rice. And then every day they double it. And so eventually he winds up taking over pretty much everything they have. Lulu and the Dog from the Sea used to be a Sonlight summer reader. I have not read it. I should have shown you the entire stack of readers here. I'm going to do that here quick before I get too far. But this is the size of the stack. So you can see it's a fairly good amount of books here. Everything except for the last 2 books here on the bottom. There's actually a third one hidden under there. Those are the science books that I have so far. But everything else is the read alouds. So Lulu and the Dog from the Sea used to be a Sonlight summer reader, so some of you might be familiar with it. I didn't read it, but I know my children have, and they really liked it. It's a chapter book, just one of those beginner chapter books in length. Roxy and the Hooligans is a really, really fun book. It's about a girl who has, I guess I'd say, a guidebook that tells her how to solve all kinds of problems, except for the ones that she actually has. So let's see if it tells you here on the back some of the problems. If she's ever lost in the desert or buried in an avalanche, and so on and so forth. But it's a really fun book. She's very creative, has a good imagination. It's really fun. The Boxcar Children used to be an HBLA. This is about the 8th cover of this book that I've owned. It's got a new cover again, I see. This is book 1 of the series, and most children like it. It is a simple chapter book, fairly long for a chapter book for children, but it's pretty easy. It's about 150 pages. The pictures are all in black and white, and it's a really lovely story about 4 orphans who have to figure out a new life and live on their own for a little while. Here's a book, 26 Fairmont Street by Tommy DePaola. It's about his life when he was a child. It's got some illustrations of it. This here in the back is from the next book, but there is about 60 pages in this book or so. And it's just a fun book about his life and the funny things that happened to him. Travels with My Family is a book about a family that likes to take strange and unusual vacations. So I can totally relate to them. It's about 120 pages long, and they go to different places and really have an interesting time of it. Let's see here. My allergies are acting up, so I think you can hear it in my voice and my sinuses. So I'm trying to do this quickly, but I haven't taken my allergy medicine yet today. The Adventures of a South Pole Pig. I don't know what this book is about, and I've never heard of it, actually. It's a fairly thick book. It's 278 pages long, and it looks like a mostly all book. And I have no idea what it's about, but I'm guessing a pig goes to the South Pole. So it kind of puts me in mind Mr. Popper's Penguins right away, but the book itself doesn't look to be that format. So, I guess I'll have to find out more about that one. Little House in the Big Woods. We've read this one already once, but I have, I ordered the paper dolls to go with this. And I have them somewhere around here. And if anybody wants to see what those look like, I can show you quick too. But it's a couple hundred pages long, and most of you are familiar with Laura Ingalls. This is the first book in the series. The World According to Humphrey is a fun little book about a hamster. And he's got quite a few books in his series. This book is about 120 pages long, and it's one of those books that's quite fun, pure book. Very interesting. I haven't really read it. I did look through it. My children have read it. Anna Hibiscus used to be a summer reader as well, I believe. She's a girl who lives in Africa, and it's about her life there in Africa. There's 2 different books, and that's what I really like about this. This is just from a different viewpoint. You don't really see a lot of children's books from Africa in English. So, Violet Mackerel's Brilliant Plot. This also used to be a Sonlight summer reader. I have one daughter who read the entire series, probably. I don't know how many books are in the series, but I remember getting quite a few of these from the library. This is a simpler chapter book. I think she was in 2nd grade when she read it. But it's just a fun chapter book. I didn't read them, so I don't really know what that one's about either. I'm going to skip this here. I'm going to do the Silver Balloon. The Silver Balloon is about a boy who ties a message to a balloon. I think it was a boy. It's been a long time since I've read this one too. Yes, it's a boy. Here he ties a message to a balloon, and he sends it off, and he hopes that somebody will answer his message. Somehow he puts how to contact him in there, and he waits and waits, and nobody answers for the longest time, and then somebody finally answers him. My Father's Dragon used to be an HBLA. It's a fun book about a boy who just runs off and has an adventure with all kinds of wild animals. It's a really fun book. My daughter was really kind of apprehensive about it because it says dragon and there were lions in it, and she was worried she was going to be too scared. She went through a phase where she was scared of everything, but this is a really fun book. The Terrible Two. I have a son who really didn't like listening to read alouds that much. I mean, he would tolerate it, but he was never really asking for more. He was like, okay, we're done. Okay, we're done. And this book was the first book that ever had him asking for more. I think it was a Sonlight summer reader. I don't remember where we got it, but he just loved it. And so if you have a reluctant listener, this might do it for them. There's all kinds of funny pictures and diagrams. It's about 2 boys, Miles and Niles, who both wind up in the same middle school. And they both like to play pranks, and so they are used to both being the only prankster in their school. Now they have to deal with somebody else in their school kind of taking over their territory a little bit. I'm just moving around some books here. I'm gonna move over the last of this stack. Dolphin Adventure and Dolphin Treasure used to be in HBLA, or Core A as I still like to call it in my head. These are short books, I'd say about 75-80 pages long. The first one here, Dolphin Adventure, is a true story about a diver who helped save a baby dolphin's life, and his parents were there with him. And the second one, oh, my children really like that book. And the second one is, I believe it's a fictional book about how the same baby dolphin and the two parents actually helped him when he was digging, or he was looking under the sea for treasure, sunken treasure. So that was fun to have kind of a little bit of a sequel to that one. Just Dance is written by the same person as Sarah Plain and Tall, and it's about the same difficulty level, slightly longer, but it's not about the same family. So if you do like Sarah Plain and Tall, this is not one of the sequels. There are sequels. This just doesn't happen to be one of them. I have not read it yet, but I'm looking forward to it because I do like that author. The Richard Scarry's Please and Thank You book. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. I'm not really a fan of his work. I really don't like the pictures. I know many people are, but not me. I have a lot of issues, and and I just don't like these pictures. The pictures and the stories in here. There is one story in this book, The Pig Will and Pig Won't, that I really like, but other than that, I'm not really a fan of it. But I know so many people really like these. There are stickers in here, so it is fun for children to have extra stickers included. The Llama Who Had No Pajamas. Oh, and this book also used to be an HBLA. The Llama Who Had No Pajama also used to be an HBLA. It's a poetry book. Many of the poems I have not heard before, so it is fun. And it just schedules, Sonlight just schedules a couple poems a week. And some of the poems were really great. My children really memorized a lot of them, especially like the first one, the birthday song. Oh, the Hello and Goodbye we also memorized, but the birthday one. The second one here we memorized, and there's a few in here that we memorized just because they like them so much. My children do not usually memorize poetry, unless it's Shel Silverstein, whom I'm not terribly fond of, but my children are. A Feelings book. I have not seen this one before. I'm not sure what I think about it, but it has all kinds of situations where people might get angry or happy or upset. And it just kind of talks about their reactions and the way they feel about them. So this is interesting to see in a curriculum. You don't really see a lot of curriculum that discuss feelings. And with so many children with autistic tendencies, it's really nice to have a book like that. Why Do Elephants Need the Sun? My children loved this series in the HBLP 4-5 set. And this does not look like it's going to be any different, so I'm sure they will love it. It's packed full of details about the sun and how the sun works, the different parts of the sun, how you can compare it to things on Earth and things like that. So that looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. There is forces make things move. This is just a physics book that just talks to you about different physics topics, being pulled down hills, being gravity, pushing, pulling, different forces, friction, and so on and so forth. And finally, in the science, these last 3 books here are the science books that I was telling you about. I don't have the rest of the science yet. The rest of this was all the read alouds. These are the science. The weather book here is an Usborne book. It's one of those beginning readers. You'll see a lot of these in Science A and Science B, I believe. This used to be in a level. I don't remember if it was B, C. I really don't remember where it was, but I know it used to be in Sonlight and they took it out. So that is all of the HBLK books that I have right now. And just on their own, I would say it's perfect for a 6, 7, possibly even 8-year-old because of the amount of history that there is packed into it. I would say that if you're going to do this and you're going to use the new books from HBL A as well, or instead of, because we've already done that level, then it's definitely more than enough for an 8-year-old. So I'm just going to go through these books here really quick. The first one here is losing its book cover, but it's Astrid the Unstoppable. I don't know what it's about, and I've never read it or heard of it, but it is quite a thick little book here with lots of words, no pictures, it looks like. And so sure, as soon as I say that, you see a picture, right? But it's about 306 pages long. So it is a longer book, and it does look very fun. Mrs. Piggle Wiggle used to be in, I want to say HBL 8, and I think it's back in again now. Might have been B. So many years, and they all start to run together. I used to have everything down, but just by memory, but my memory is going. Mrs. Piggle Wiggle is a fun book. It's about 120 pages long, and she is a lady who lives by herself, and all the children love to go visit her. And so whenever the parents have a problem, they call her up, and she knows all kinds of strange cures, creative cures that probably wouldn't work for most things, about children who don't want to pick up their toys, or children who don't want to go to bed, or children who don't want to take big bites and eat really, really slowly. So if you have a child who has some of those bad habits, they might like this book. But keep in mind, every once in a while you have a child who wants to copy all the bad habits and pick up new ones. The Kitchen Madonna. This used to be in another one of those books. I don't remember which level it used to be in. I want to say it used to be a reader in HBLE. And whatever year it was, this was my now 16-year-old son's favorite book of the year, the favorite reader of the year. I was a little bit apprehensive because it does have a Madonna in it, or an icon. But it's such a good book. It's such a lovely book. It's about 100 pages long, not a lot of pictures, and it's about a little boy who doesn't give up, and he just keeps trying and trying. It's a really sweet book. The Ordinary Princess is a book that was my oldest daughter's favorite for a while. It's, I don't remember how many children are in the family, but it's a family with a lot of girls in it, and she's like the 10th, I don't remember the exact number. It's about 110 pages. But she's about the 10th or so child in the family, and she just feels, compared to everybody else, she feels just so plain and ordinary, and she wants to be special. And so it's just a fun book. I don't know anything about this Cool Beans book here. I really don't know anything about it. Looks like it has dodgeball and lasers, so I'm sure it'll appeal to many boys, including my son that still doesn't like to listen to books all that much. He does better now, but it's a fairly thick book. It's about 270 pages long. It's got a few comic type books, and it looks like one of those books that children just like to read because they got all kinds of interesting things in them. But I really don't know what it's about, so I can't say anything about it. This one here, I just love the title. I love the cover. I don't know, something about it just makes it sound like something I really, really want to read. But I don't know much about this book either. It's a thicker book. It's about 210 pages long. And it looks like it tells you about sled dogs and all kinds of information, but it also follows. It looks like it's a fictional book. I can't tell for sure. But it's about, I'm guessing it's about a sled dog school because that's what it's called. I'm tired and I'm kind of stumbling over my words here, so forgive me. Book Uncle and Me is a fun book about a girl who likes to visit this kind of like a roadside stand library. It's about 150 pages long. It's a thick chapter book, and the town wants to shut it down, and she wants to try to save it. So it's a really fun book. The Berenstain Bears Dollars and Cents. I don't really use them a lot, but I can see why Sonlight includes this one. They do have these like fake checks with a little record keeping, so you can keep track of how much money you spent. They have stickers in the front, and in the back they have some more of those checks and some more stickers, and it talks to you about what money is, how to save it, how to spend it, how to be frugal and think before you buy, stuff like that. So it's a brief introduction to economics. The Bill Martin Jr. Big Book of Poetry is the new poetry book for HBLA. And it's it says big book, and it is a fairly big book of poetry. It's about 175 pages long, and lots of color, and lots of poems. I don't know. I haven't looked through the poems to see if they're familiar or not. But they don't look to be. So I'm just saying that there looks to be some poems that I haven't seen before. And I think it looks really fun just because of all the color and all the bright pictures in it. So that's it for the HBL A books that are new this year. I didn't do all the books because I didn't order them all. But those are the new ones, so you can kind of get an idea and you add them together. I'm just going to go through here and show you some of the other things that I'll probably be making videos about sooner or later. Over here I have my guide and my tote bag that came with, because I did get the full grade package. This is the cards for Language Arts 1. This is a card game that you have to match the sounds that the blends make. This is called Go Blend, I believe. And then the Go A to Z, which was an optional thing that I just kind of added on. These are just cards that have A to Z on them in there for playing like Go Fish type games. There are other sounds on there. I don't remember exactly what's on there, and the bag won't open for me. This is a bingo game of sight words, just basic words that are hard to read. And there is one card in there you will cut up. The bag here is kind of scratched and it looks weird on here. But there is one card here you will cut up for pieces, and then there's 4 playing cards. And you just kind of call them out, and there's the bingo markers here that you can mark them with. So your children can get used to seeing the words quite often. The handwriting program I got came with pencils. I got one for each of my girls. I have a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old that'll be doing this level. So that's that. They also come with the standard Sonlight magnet, the brochure, and then these new little cards, which I wanted to see up close. I'm going to show anybody else that wants to see them up close. At the top it says My Week, so it keeps track of which week you are. The scripture of the day, space for your 3 priorities, and then kind of a schedule for each day. On the back it has a notes section and a Sonlight, how to contact Sonlight advisors. So I'm thinking about using these for my job actually. I don't know if I'm going to keep them in the guide or not, but they are fun. I got 3 of them because I ordered the 3 different guides. I ordered the core, the HBL, language arts, and science. The science, of course, hasn't come yet. Then I got the Readers 1 package instead of the Readers K package, because my only choices are Readers 1 and Readers K, and I already own everything from Readers K through 4, but I have plans to give this to somebody, so that'll come in handy. I tend to give away way too much stuff because I am the world's worst salesperson. And then I also got I just bought HBL B not very long ago. I just updated it and got a whole bunch of new stuff. And so we're doing Matthew C. Gamma, which I really love Matthew C. But because I needed to pick a math and we weren't ready for Delta yet, we just started Gamma with my 6 and my 8-year-olds. I got Singapore Math 2 for them. And I do have a video review already about these if you want to see it. I'll probably make a new one now that I have new workbooks. But this kind of got stuck there. They come with the Home Instructor's Guide, which basically walks you through every single lesson and breaks it up for you. There is a 2A and a 2B. And then there are the textbooks, 2A, and somewhere in here, I'm guessing this dark one is 2B. And each one lasts you a semester. And the textbooks are full color and are non-consumable. You don't write in these. And then they have the 2A and 2B. I have 2 copies, of course, because I have 2 girls. Workbooks, and these are black and white, and you can write in these all you want. So there's a 2A and a 2B, and then I also got the challenging word problems because I wanted to try it. I haven't really tried it before. I know Singapore has, it's criticized often for not having enough practice, but these are supposed to add practice to them, but these are quite, if you look through here, they show you how to do the different word problems and set them up the Singapore way. And so these are just extra problems. I'm not sure how much we're going to like this book or use it at all because we are doing another full math program besides. Plus I have extra math stuff here anyways. And then for handwriting, we have Reason for Handwriting. So just for fun, I like Getty Dubay. I don't like handwriting without tears very much at all. So I do have the Getty Dubay. This is the instruction manual. We are doing the level A because my girls have dyslexia. Actually, one of them has pretty serious dyslexia, and the other one's younger, and she likes to do they like to do everything together. I mean, literally everything. I can't get them their own level books because they won't do them. They only want to do what the other one's doing. So I do have level A because my daughter is using this, and I love their writing because it looks almost like cursive right from the beginning. It's slightly slanted. It's really pretty. So I really like these, and I'll probably show you guys these in a little bit more in depth. So I have 2 of those, and then they also come with, of course, the lined paper. We use this for the copy work. I did get Language Arts 1 with this. I will probably use it. I don't know. We go back and forth with Sonlight's Language Arts, so I'm not sure what we're gonna do with it. I think that's it for all the things that came with it. I also ordered some label stickers. If you guys haven't seen these yet, these are just stickers with the letter printed on them, and they're just the perfect size. They already got the sticker backing, and you take these off and stick them on the spines of your books. I should have done one here for a sample, but I didn't think of it until just now. I have the Draw Right Now kit. We have some of these. I never did buy the whole set, and the ones we have are so old. I bought them used, and they were already really old, and then my children are rough on books, and now they're extra old. But I'm just going to show you really quick what they're like. They show you how to draw different pictures step by step, and then they have different things to write underneath the picture so that way your children can practice drawing and writing. That's why it's called Draw Right Now. So I'm not going to show you all those right now because my video is already over half an hour long. I have the brackets pulleys, which I haven't opened yet to see how much fun it is. The Smart Farmer. We have the 3 Little Pigs one, and they just loved it. And this is a new one, so we're doing this one as well. I got 2 different levels of Sonlight Summer Readers from 2019. Not the newest ones, 2020, because those haven't been released yet. But I did get the boys and the girls set from 2019. So those will be fun to do. And then just a couple extra things here. I got the Math Adventures because I've been looking at these for a while, and these look so fun. And these look like they're not a complete program, but they're really, really pretty. And they're really kind of different and more, if you want a child who wants something creative or fun or colorful to do, and they need a little bit of a break, these look like they're going to be really good books. And of course I got 2 of them because my girls. And then I also got, I'll do this one last, I got Time for Friends because I just wanted to see what it was like. And, you know me, I'm curious about everything. And it looks like we're just walking Frog through his day, and at different times of the day, the different things that he does. So, not quite what I was expecting, but it still looks fun. I'm not sure if it won't be too easy for them. But, it looks good for like a younger child, or a child that hasn't done time yet. And then finally, this is the new poetry book by Amy from, oh my goodness, is it HBL? I'm not totally sure. I totally forgot where it was from. But it was a new poetry book, and I wanted to see what it was like. And it has beautiful illustrations in it. And the poems are collected from various famous poems around. So that's it. If you have any questions or you want to see anything more in depth, let me know. But basically, my opinions on HBLK is it probably would be rather difficult for a young child younger than 5. I probably would go closer to 6 or 7. I know somebody does say 5 and 6. But I still think, well, maybe 5 would work, but they'd have to be really interested in history. Anyways, it would be great for an 8-year-old, especially if you add a couple of the harder books from A to it. And I really like it. It looks really interesting, and it looks comparable to what a lot of programs have in their 3rd grade. Oh, I also got 2 hands-on histories. They're level A. We already did level A hands-on history, but that was our favorite one, and I just wanted something extra to throw in. So I think that's it for all the things that I got. So hopefully you guys have a blessed day, and I will talk to you guys later. Thank you.